Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another video. My name is Carly, and this is Owning Authenticity. In this video, we are going to be chatting about the Taurus North Node attributes to develop because at the time I'm recording this and hopefully releasing it here pretty soon, we are just about to enter Taurus season, so the 30 days of the year where the sun is going to be moving across the 30 degrees of Taurus. And whether you have a Taurus North Node in your natal chart, like a lot of you do around this channel, or you maybe are a Taurus Sun, happy early birthday by the way, or maybe you have a Taurus rising, maybe you have a Taurus midheaven. Any of these placements, and probably some other ones, would allow you to gain value out of this video. So even if that's not you, like a natal Taurus North Node, again, you may still enjoy it as a way to really tune in to the energy of the sun moving through Taurus and to develop the gifts, the massive gifts that Taurus energy has to offer. I'm gonna be real upfront with you. When I was very first learning astrology, I learned that I am a Taurus rising. I have a 0-degree Taurus rising, and I also have Jupiter in Taurus in the first house. And when she told me, my coach who was teaching me astrology, when she told me, she described Taurus energy as super earthy, super chill, loves nature, loves to garden and put your hands in the soil and go for walks in the woods and stuff. And I was just boring, 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 boring. I totally missed the point of wait, what? I have a Gemini stellium, and I was that sounds like the most boring thing I could possibly be doing. And let me tell you, at this point now, nearly 4 years later, I am a total Taurus convert. It is one of my top favorite energies. And that also could be because I love the quote, if you want to feel most like yourself, live like your rising sign. So whether you're a Taurus rising or you have some other rising sign, it's worth giving a little bit of thought to what does that mean to live like your rising sign? And for me, it means to basically take this list of attributes that the Taurus North Node is meant to develop and to develop that within myself. And it is so true that my life seems to get better and better and better and better the more I will live like that Taurus energy. So I would imagine, again, Taurus rising, Taurus midheaven, Taurus sun sign, or a Taurus North Node. Any of those placements are going to find some value in what we're going to talk about here. And I keep looking down because I am once again referencing the amazing Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. And I'm on the first page of the Taurus North Node chapter with the list of attributes to develop. So real quick, I'm going to read you the full list, and we're not going to talk about all of these, but if I leave out one of the ones that you wanted me to talk about, leave it in the comments and I will absolutely come back on a future video and cover that one. So the list of attributes to develop, the full list. It says, work in these areas can help uncover hidden gifts and talents. So our North Node, I'm still going to read the list, but real quick. Our North Node, we have a unique ability and capacity to operate in that area of our chart that is hidden. The fact that it's the North Node means that we haven't really gone there yet, but because of our proficiency on the other end, in its sister sign, in our South Node sign, in this case in Scorpio, because you have such proficiency in Scorpio, that gives you this unique ability to access the gifts of Taurus energy in a way that not everybody can. And so on this channel of Owning Authenticity, I love putting us more in touch with what is special and unique about you in your authentic energy, right? There are no copy and paste. Every single person, even the thousands of Taurus North Nodes that are floating around this channel, all of you are completely unique. And so as we do go through this list, I love that little confirmation. As we do go through this list, each of you will experience these these factors, these facets of Taurus energy in completely different ways, and possibly different than I'm going to describe them. You trust yourself in feeling inside of your body, hint, hint, Taurus, feel inside your body what feels true for you, what feels like you are opening a gift inside of yourself, or like, wow, I didn't realize that there was so much value in XYZ, right? This video hopefully will give you a space to get to know yourself on an even deeper level. Or possibly, because I'm talking to Scorpio South Nodes, you know yourself on a super deep level. Maybe it helps get us up out of the depths and more into the simple value that you have to add to this planet. Taurus is very simple compared to Scorpio being very complex. And so here's the list without further ado. Attributes to develop. Number 1, loyalty. Number 2, awareness of boundaries. Number 3, taking things one step at a time. Number 4, a sense of self-worth. Number 5, awareness of personal values. Number 6, patience. Number 7, honoring expressed needs of self and others. Number 8, enjoying the 5 physical senses. Number 9, gratitude. Number 10, awareness of nurturing from Mother Earth. Number 11, forgiveness. And number 12, persistence. So those are the 12 attributes to develop that Jan Spiller outlines in this book for all of the North nodes. There are likely infinite attributes to develop. Every single one of the 12 zodiac signs is quite diverse and multifaceted. These are just a handful of the attributes of Taurus energy that we can really plug into to try to bring those Taurus gifts up and out of ourselves. And I'm going to start with taking things one step at a time, okay? And we're going to contrast these to the Scorpio South node, or, you know, if you are, for example, if you are the Taurus rising, then you have a Scorpio descendant. If you are a Taurus sun sign, then that means you have a Scorpio earth sign. The earth sign is not typically shown on the natal chart, but it's always exactly opposite where the sun is. So taking things one step at a time being the Taurus element, and compared to Scorpio, sitting still until you map out every single step to get you over there to where you need to be. Scorpio is that strategic thinking. It's very private and very guarded to make sure that it's ready to tackle any obstacle that might come up. Scorpio is the tendency to have a strategic plan and your fail-safe backup plan. And just in case your backup plan fails, you got another backup plan. Like, Scorpio has depth of planning because Scorpio will not be surprised. And the thing about Taurus with taking things one step at a time, meaning if you want to go over there, take a step towards over there. And now that you're standing here, like, oh, well, great, I'll take another step towards over there. And then you get halfway over there and you decide, I don't even care about going over there. I kind of want to go over this way. Look at that flower. I really want to smell that flower. Ooh, I think I smell funnel cakes. I think I want to go towards wherever that smell is coming from. So Taurus and the one step at a time. And this really also goes towards like enjoying the 5 physical senses. And I know it says enjoy, but like use the 5 physical senses, because as you move along the path, the exact direction that you're aiming for, the exact location that you're trying to get to, the exact outcome that you're trying to have. With Scorpio planning ahead, you can't really ever account for exactly what you're going to find along the path. Like, the map doesn't even show a funnel cake stand. So like, you can't plan for that detour, but your 5 physical senses will tell you exactly where you want to pause, you want to stop, you want to take a moment and pull over by the side of the road and enjoy this beautiful sunset. You want to take a moment and walk through this field of lavender that you had no idea was going to be along the path, right? Like when we are so fixated on the exact outcome that we need to have, AKA we're taking it 1,000 steps at a time, we're focused on the end goal instead of the right here, right now moment, we miss so much. We miss so much of the pleasure and the satisfaction and the joy that this life has to offer that cannot be planned for. And that's the secret to Taurus energy, is when you will be present in the now and you will be willing to take things one step at a time and trust your five senses. Look around. What's beautiful? Sniff it out. What smells heavenly, right? Listen for... Okay, the image that's coming to me is like, one of my favorite things when I travel is to walk around in the city, wherever I am, and listen for the street music. There's always some kid with a trumpet, some guy with some buckets. Like there's always somebody playing on a street corner somewhere. And how do you find them? You listen. You listen and you think, oh, it's over there somewhere. So I'm going to take a left right here. And then you listen again and you're like, yep, another right. Listen again, like keep going straight. Listen again, another left, and bam, you're standing at a concert for free. Did you plan to be there? No. But just being in the moment and using your five senses, you're able to unlock what this world really has to offer. And when we get in our head and we get in our strategy and we get locked on one specific outcome, then it's almost impossible to like really enjoy the physical pleasures, the heaven on earth that this life can really be. And so one of the juiciest gifts of Taurus energy is that if you will be in the now and you will follow your five senses, you can literally create heaven on earth. Or rather, maybe a better way to say that is that you stumble into heaven on earth, right? Like we don't even necessarily have to create it. This beauty exists. I didn't tell that kid with the trumpet to go stand on that corner. I just found him by listening. Right? I didn't plant the beautiful gardens of flowers. I just found it by smelling. What is that smell? Follow the smell, one step at a time, right? And so a lot of the contrast between Taurus and Scorpio is right there. It's in how present are you in the right now moment. And another way to say that, because again, like I think back to who I was when I first learned about my Taurus rising, I'm like, boring, what's next? Another way to say being present in the right now moment is to say, how available are you for pleasure? Okay, how available are you for pleasure? How available are you for receiving the pleasure that this world has to offer? And how do we receive pleasure? We take things one step at a time. We use our five physical senses to guide us to what feels pleasurable. And on the same hand, I mean, like you can use them to guide you away, like that smell, ooh, gross. You know, I was planning to go that way, but like it's got a funk happening, so I'm going to go the opposite way. And that ends up leading you somewhere beautiful that you didn't plan to go. And again, being in the moment is how you got there. So that presence in the moment, being available to receive pleasure, is how we stumble into heaven on earth. Love it. The next one I'm going to talk about is a sense of self-worth, developing a sense of self-worth. And how is that the Taurus end and what is the contrast on the Scorpio end? So within Scorpio is one of the two signs, the other being Libra, where we are really fixated on the other person. So with Libra, we are surveying what the others are doing. With Scorpio, we're not only surveying what they're doing, we're trying to merge together as one entity with the other person. And so you think about like your sense of worthiness in Scorpio is found in the mirror of the other person. Right? Like they think I'm beautiful, so now I feel beautiful. They think I'm a bitch, so now I feel like I'm a bitch. Like worthy, not worthy, it's all up to them. And it's really not. It's really not. And I get the value of Scorpio energy. I get the value of Libra energy, and being aware of what the other is doing lets us build relationships, lets us have connection, lets us navigate and make harmonious situations where us and another can feel full and fed and satiated. And that's beautiful in its own right. But this Taurus energy, talking to a Taurus North Node, talking about Taurus season, this is about us having an unshakable, untouchable knowledge, right? Like knowing, like it just is. It's not up for debate. It's not questionable. There's no proof outside of it that can diminish it. That sense of self-worth that lives inside of you. That is the gift of Taurus energy, that fixed earth, deeply rooted into the ground Taurus energy. The tree is a perfect example of Taurus energy. The tree has its roots in the ground, and the tree just is. Somebody comes along and says, "Hey tree, I think you'd look better over there." The tree says, "Meh, I'm planted right here." Right? I'm planted right here in my worthiness, growing, soaking up resources, becoming everything I was born to be right here. I don't need your input. I hear your opinion. It doesn't change anything. It's not factored into the equation of me trying to feel worthy or not. Right? And that is the gift of Taurus energy, is being able to be steadfast, fixed earth, like a boulder in your own worthiness. And the mirror of other people, I mean, it can provide information to you, like it can provide data. Oh, isn't that interesting? You don't receive me well. Isn't that interesting? I wonder if that means that I need to change something about myself, or if you're maybe having a bad day. Right? Like if one person one time says something to you about like some random opinion about you, and it's like, okay, yeah, leaving that with you, because I've never heard that before. Nobody else has ever said that to me before. If every single person ever tells you something about yourself, not even that you need to change, but like as we move into Gemini energy, it's worth sitting with that data. It's worth sitting with that information and being like, I spot a pattern here. How interesting, right? Like it's not a matter of automatically changing to mirror what the other person wants from you, Scorpio, right? Like we want to merge with the other in Scorpio energy to the point where we will shed pieces of ourselves. We will lock pieces of ourselves in the basement dungeon in order to be who they want us to be so that we can merge. And that is not unconditional self-acceptance. That's not unconditional worthiness. Self-worth means I am worthy no matter what anyone else thinks, because I am self. I am here. I am breathing. I was born. I exist. I am worthy. That's the end of the story. And that is the gift of Taurus energy. And with a Taurus North Node, we are working to establish that unshakable, untouchable sense of worthiness so that it lives inside of us, so that we live there. That's our home address. We go home to that every time anybody says anything to us, whether they love us or they don't love us. We love us. Ooh, I just heard a new song and I'm going to put it in the description box. It's called I Love Me by Meghan Trainor. So good. And the next one I'm going to talk about is awareness of personal values. And I think this goes hand in hand with both that we've talked about so far as stumbling into heaven on earth and having that unshakable sense of self-worth. Both are supported by really knowing your own personal values. And I'll link in the description box as well. I made a core values exercise. You can also Google core values exercise, and there's a ton of them. Talk about abundance being everywhere. There are a ton of free core values exercises that you can find out there. But on this core values exercise, it has like 130-ish examples of things that you might find valuable. And you go through each one of them, and if you think it's valuable, you write it on your list. If you think it's valuable, you write it on your list. If you don't think it's valuable, then you don't write it on your list. And when you're done, most likely out of the 130, you've got like 60, 70, 80 things on your list. And like, that's not helpful. So the exercise talks you through, okay, now cross out half of them. Okay. Or better, circle the top half, right? Like this is one of my top values. This is definitely in the top half of the list. And you'll start to see, some of them, it's like, yeah, I really think that's important, but you're right. There's probably 20, 30 things in front of that one on my list of values. So you end up with the top half, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, get yourself down to 2. Get yourself down to like 2, maybe 3 things that are your top values. And what that lets you do is be a super efficient decision maker, right? And what is deciding? I saw this awesome little meme the other day that was like 6 ice cream flavors. And then on the other side, there's like a scoop with one of the ice cream flavors on there. And it's like decision requires rejection. When you decide what it is that you value most, you are automatically rejecting everything that's not that. And so what does it mean to be an efficient decision maker? You're really efficient at knowing what to accept and what to reject. And this is very much based in having a sense of self-worth that says, I get to have what I want. Like I'm worthy enough to give myself what it is that I want. And if that's not what I want, then no, thank you. Thank you, but no, thank you. Right? So playing with this awareness of personal values, you have like 2, maybe 3, and then there's a situation. There's a situation that comes up and, you're on the fence, like maybe I want that, maybe I don't want that. And then you remember back to, oh, wait, what are my personal values? I want this and this. Those are the 2 most important things to me. And the only reason I would say yes is out of social obligation. The only reason I would say yes is because they really want me to go. The only reason I would say yes is because I feel like I have to. It's not me being authentic or me being free. Those are mine, for example. And so that lets you be really efficient with knowing what to accept and what to reject, that personal values. And I think another tip that I'll leave here is once we are aware of our personal values, it is our responsibility to live in alignment with those values. And you can see what values you're living in alignment with when you look at your bank statements or your credit card statements, whatever. Basically, where are you spending your money? And your calendar, your schedule. If you don't keep a schedule, no big deal. Like look at how you spend your time in a day. Right? Our 2 most powerful resources, Taurus ruling over resources, our own personal resources. Our most powerful resources are time and money, time being the more powerful of the 2. So how do you spend your resources, your time and your money? That shows you what values you're living in alignment with. And often when we're starting out in this process, we can have kind of a come to Jesus moment of like, I'm not living in alignment with what I do value consciously. That's not what I spend my time and money on, right? And so bringing those 2 into alignment so that what you spend your time and money on are supporting your own personal values. This is you investing in your own self-worth. When we do what we believe in, when we line ourselves up time and money wise with what it is that we believe is most valuable, we inherently strengthen our own self-worth. We make our yeses that much more powerful by everything we say no to, right? Like when we accept everything, our acceptance means nothing. When we only accept what is most valuable to us, that is powerful. And it's powerful because we reject that and that and that and that and a million other things that aren't what we personally believe in. Every bit of that is strengthening your own sense of I matter. I'm worthy. I get to decide, right? Like I'm the creator of my own life and I get to decide what goes on here. That's up to me, okay? I am the director of this being. I am the one in charge of this body, in charge of this life. That's on you. You are powerful in your own experience, in your own reality. And the more we will take ownership of that, the more we will develop our sense of self-worth by becoming aware of our own personal values and living in alignment with that. That is you taking on that power and making the most of it. Beautiful, beautiful thing, beautiful work to be doing. And I honor everyone who is doing that. As I've met more and more people who are around this channel, I am consistently blown away at how much of this work you all have already done, And so as I offer these conversations, these very one-sided conversations, these very general conversations, right? It is important to me it's valuable to me to remember that typically the person sitting on the other side of the screen has come so fucking far in these elements. And so just take a second and pat yourself on the back for, you are not who you were 5 years ago. You're definitely not who you were 20 years ago. Okay. And who you're gonna be 5 years from now is not who you are today. There is always room to improve your worthiness. There is always room to grab a hold of even more of your own power. Always, 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 and forever. As long as we are breathing on this planet, there is room to strengthen our worthiness. So good. And actually, I'm going to take a second right here and invite you to my next 4-week mini program called The Worthiness Habit. So this habit of worthiness and seeing the world through eyes that are worthy. This is something I am so passionate about. And again, possibly because of my Taurus rising, my Jupiter in Taurus, having a sense of self-worth changed my life. And living without it almost caused me to lose my life on multiple occasions. Lose it to engaging in very dicey situations, lose it to engaging in toxic relationships and believing that I deserved no better. Until one day, I'm fucking done living like this. I can't take it anymore. And that was almost 8 years ago. And that started my daily self-care journey, which led to my spiritual awakening, which led to my worthiness journey that I have now been on for several years. And the more and more and more I clear my lenses of that unworthiness, that lack, that not enoughness, the more I clear that off my lenses, the more beautiful this world becomes. We literally have life happen through us. And so if we believe that we are worthy, the world reflects that. If we believe that we are not worthy, if we are not enough, the world will reflect that. And so how do we make this world the place that we want it to be? It starts inside of us, right? Like, be the change you want to see in the world. I believe it was Gandhi who said that, 98% sure. That's okay. Be the change you want to see in the world. What does that mean? That means you believe in your worthiness. If you want the world to respect you, if you want the world to acknowledge your worthiness, you respect you. You acknowledge your worthiness. You live from a place of making decisions, of accepting and rejecting based on I am worthy. I'm worthy because I exist. I have an inherent worthiness because I'm here, because I'm breathing. And so this worthiness habit, and I want to talk about the word habit for a second, because habits are beautiful things. Habits make things easy, effortless, right? The things that are habits, we don't even think about it. You just do it. It's just part of your wiring. It's part of your programming. And so a lot of us, okay, let's have a shared humanity, common humanity moment for a second. A lot of us were raised in not enough programming. You're not good enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not thin enough. You're not smart enough. You're not athletic enough. You're not enough. That was the message that we absorbed in our young years. And that became the level of our programming, the initial foundation of our programming. And this work of reprogramming ourselves, of becoming aware of the old programming that was handed down to us and uninstalling that, making it unfamiliar, by practicing new habits, by practicing new beliefs and new ways of being, making those new ways familiar, making worthiness familiar, inherent enoughness, making that familiar. That's how we change the world. It starts with us. And so you are invited to the Worthiness Habit. We will meet 4 Fridays. There are 4 sessions, 4 weeks in a row that we will do starting April 26th and running through May 17th. And every single one of those will be a 60-minute session. And there's also a VIP level where we stay on for 45 more minutes immediately following the session, and we get to unpack what just happened. What just mind-blowing expansion of consciousness, brand new worthiness came on board. Let's chat about it, okay? And dive even deeper, answer tons of questions, get more clarity. Often I also end up offering even more practices, even more techniques that we can practice in our own time and embrace this new way of being, embrace this expansion of our consciousness. So the VIP level is an excellent deal. We stay on for an hour and 45 minutes. VIP tickets are $40. The basic ticket is $20, and the link for both of those is in the description. So now back to our list, and we are going to talk about which one next? Honoring expressed needs of self and others. And I want to dive into this one and again, contrast it with the Scorpio way. It makes it sound like Scorpio is not honoring the expressed needs of others and self. And basically, and it comes back to what we talked about at the very beginning of having such a strategic lock on the outcome that that is what is happening. That's what's most important. And another factor of why Scorpio is not as able to honor express needs of self and others is because Scorpio is largely unconscious, right? In Scorpio energy, that is where we make the unconscious conscious. And really, depending on what study you see, it's basically 2 to 3% of our self is conscious, while roughly 95 to 98% of our being is unconscious. So you think about an iceberg where there's this teeny little tip sticking out of the ocean, and then underneath is all of this mass that you can't see, but it's there. That's Scorpio energy. And so when we think about Scorpio energy, there's a lot of running by default. There's a lot of survival mechanisms and behavior. And again, we think about taking it one step at a time, being present in the now moment, being able to hear what is somebody saying, what is somebody asking for from us, or even what is our body saying, what is our body asking for from us, right? Honoring not just the needs of others, but the needs of self. And we can get so caught up in that strategic outcome that we're trying to secure for ourselves so that we can feel secure, that we lose track of our own physical needs. If you've ever gone, I'm so guilty of this. Have you ever gone hours and hours and hours and realized I haven't eaten anything today? It's been all day since I drank water, maybe even a couple days since I drank water. I realize all of a sudden, I'm holding my pee. I obviously needed to go to the bathroom 3 hours ago. And literally now I'm squeezing my legs and trying to scoop myself into the bathroom because I was so not available to hear what it was that my body needed. I was so caught into what it is that I'm trying to do here. So locked into the strategic laser-like focus that Scorpio is very talented at, and bypassing all of myself in the process, and oftentimes other people too. And there's no guilt, there's no judgment in any of this. It's oh, isn't that interesting? I did it again. Isn't that interesting? I must have been zoned out. Isn't that interesting? Right? It's just data. It's just self-observation. We have to become aware of it. We can't heal things that we're not aware of. We can't change things we don't know about. So as we become aware of these patterns within ourselves, I beg you to be gentle and compassionate and kind to yourself, and to allow that awareness to pull you into, okay, so then what? Right? And the Taurus element of honoring the expressed needs of self. And sometimes the expression of those needs is as simple as your stomach growled. What do you do next? Right? Your mouth feels dry. What do you do next? And how often do we power through those physical sensations? I love the quote, our body whispers until it screams. Okay? Like when we will ignore our body, eventually the message that comes after ignoring it for a long time, it's not pleasant, right? It starts screaming at us. We end up with a headache. We end up with a pinch in our back. Like I have a spot in my shoulder where I know I've been forcing myself and pushing myself when that spot in my shoulder like clenches up and now I can't turn my head, right? Like that's my body being like, slow the fuck down. Okay? Like I tried to tell you this. I tried to tell you that like I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I need to go to the bathroom, like I'm tired, I want a nap. I tried to tell you those things and you ignored me. And so now I'm like going to my last resort, which is like literally putting you into physical pain so that you'll listen. Right? We listen to pain. It gets our attention. It's very hard to focus around physical pain. And that's our body's last resort. Okay, it doesn't want to do that to us. And before it does that, it gives us a million different messages that's like whisper, 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 whisper. And so this facet of Taurus energy of honoring the expressed needs of self, that is a matter of listening to your body. Listening to your body. And I'm going to give you a tip here that I've been practicing now for a couple weeks and I've absolutely loved it, which is to take on your phone, which, I mean, how many of us exist without our phones nearby most of the time? So on your phone, set recurring alarms for 4 times a day. And these are breathing breaks. Okay, so like we're going to stop. I have mine set for 9 a.m., 11:30, 2, and 6. And we're going to stop. And for like 90 seconds, I'm going to breathe on purpose. I'm going to breathe down into my belly, right? Get that breath down into my lower lungs, because when we're in our hyperactivated state, we're taking very short and shallow breaths up in our chest. If your shoulders are rising and falling, that's you breathing in your upper chest. And that's what we do when we're hyperventilating, when we're under attack, when we're in danger. So 4 times a day, we're going to stop and breathe intentionally down into our belly and signal to our body that it's safe. Right? And take that moment. It's amazing how many times while I'm in the middle of my breathing break, I realize like, oh, I'm hungry. I need a snack. Like I'm feeling it right now. Like I need a snack. I need some water. I need to pee. I want to go outside. My body wants to move. My legs are like so cramped up. I want to just take even like a 2-minute walk, right? Like when we will slow down for even 90 seconds and breathe on purpose, it is life-changing. It's life-changing to pay attention to your body, make it a habit of listening to your body. And the habit is we set those alarms for 4 times a day. And then do that, like even challenge yourself to do that for all of Taurus season and see how you feel. Because I can tell you after even just a few days of doing that, it was like, especially that 9 to 11:31, it's like I'm aching for it. I'm like craving the break. And so I'll go ahead and do it at like 10:30 or 11, knowing full well the alarm's going to go off at 11:30 and I'm going to do it again then. Okay, because that sense of peace and calm that we give to ourselves, like it becomes addictive. And so the art of change is always only about making the unfamiliar familiar, making the familiar unfamiliar. Right? And in Scorpio, we tend to be in survival mode a lot. We tend to be in fear mode a lot. And in Taurus, we're in peace mode. We're in rest and digest mode. We're chill. We're good. We got everything we need. Look, I'm seeing beautiful things. I'm hearing beautiful things. I'm smelling beautiful things. I'm good to go. I'm worthy because I exist and I'm breathing. I'm good to go. Right? Simple. And so in those breathing breaks, you could also call them blessing breaks. I also took it one step further and added a label onto those alarms. And let me just read you what I put. And I encourage you to play around with your own and like kind of set them however you like. let us see my alarms. So my 9 a.m. one is called Let It Be Easy. My 11:30 one is called Creating New Paradigms. My 2 o'clock one says Spaciousness is Key. And my 6 p.m. one says Elevate Ease. And I may change those as I go. I've only been doing it a couple weeks, like I said. But again, it didn't take even just a few days for me to start craving and for me to start noticing that, like, I need to stop and breathe for a second. I'm feeling really constricted. I'm feeling really elevated and jacked up in my nervous system. Like I'm on high alert. And like yesterday, I took my cat to the vet so he could be neutered, and it was like pouring down rain. And there was this person behind me who did not have their headlights on, and we almost had a crash. And by the time I got to the vet's office, I was like, oh my God, like I survived. I finally made it here. And instead of just like getting out of my car and getting Bob and taking him into the vet, I sat there for a couple minutes and I did my breathing, right? I signaled to my body that we are safe. We can come down out of fight or flight. We are safe in this moment. And I gave that gift to myself in that moment. Took a minute to like calm back down, right? Take it one step at a time. It's not about getting Bob to the vet. It's about being easy and having an enjoyable, pleasurable experience in your life. At least that's what my life's about. Again, Taurus rising. Live like your rising sign. Find your inner peace. Let it be peaceful. Let it be easy. Nobody is ever gonna show up in your living room and be like, all right, it's time. Let's make your life peaceful. That's something we give to ourselves. That's a decision that we make. And remember, deciding is being really efficient at accepting what it is that you find valuable and rejecting everything that's not that. So deciding to let your life be peaceful is a matter of being able to notice when it's not, and interrupting the fight or flight to signal safety and let your system come back into a place of rest. It's that simple. It's not easy, but it is that simple. And so the breathing breaks, the blessing breaks 4 times a day, they get you in that habit, right? Habits make things easy. Get you in the habit of even knowing what peace and ease and feeling good feels like, because you're practicing it 4 times a day, right? If you'll be amazed at even 30 to 60 seconds of those deep belly breaths, it activates what's called your vagus nerve, which is actually a whole system of nerves that runs from the back of your brainstem all the way down your legs. And when you breathe into your belly, it is activating those nerves. There's lots of ways to activate your vagus nerve, and we're going to talk about that in the worthiness habit. So I want you to have a whole arsenal of ways to activate peace in your body. Because when things feel easy, when we are at peace, when we are at rest state, that is where worthiness comes from. It's also where our most powerful brain power kicks online, right? When we're on fight or flight, we're operating off the amygdala, and that's it. And so what's that? That's our unconscious programming. That's us playing out what it is that we were taught when we were 5 years old. That's why most people walk around this earth as adult 4-year-olds. Just doing whatever they were taught back then. And to change that, right? The art of change is to make something unfamiliar familiar. And so the 4 times a day breathing breaks, my best advice on how to do that, on how to practice more ease, more calm. Check it out. It's going off. It's 11:30. I'm going to stop it and I'm going to do it right now with you on here, because why not? And I hold at the top once I'm full. I encourage you to do it with me. I do either alternate nostril breathing or a 4-7-8 pattern. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. And we're doing it all through our nose, because when we are hyperventilating, when we are under attack, it is almost exclusively mouth breathing and high in our chest. So we slow it down and we use breathing through our nose and deep into our belly to signal to our body that we are safe. So again, we'll inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. If you need something closer to like a 3-5-6 pattern, inhale for 3, hold for 5, exhale for 6, whatever your lungs feel like doing, that is fantastic. You are your own guide. So that was like a minute, and I can tell you that it was a minute because I can feel it in my legs. I feel a lightness in my legs when I've done it. When I've activated the vagus nerve, I also feel a little lightheaded because I'm getting so much more oxygen than I have been when I've been doing my mouth breathing and high in my chest, which only lets my oxygen go a little bit into my lungs. And when we do the nose breathing and down into our belly, you are getting so much more oxygen. So it is totally normal to feel just a little bit lightheaded, to feel a tingling in your legs and arms that wasn't there before because you literally weren't breathing as deeply as you do when you breathe on purpose. So again, yes, this is simple. No, it's not easy, but it is as simple as deciding. We decide one time. I'm ready for my life to be easy. I'm ready for my life to be peaceful. And then we do the work over and over and over and over and over and over, 4 times a day, 6 times a day, over and over and over and over to make the unfamiliar familiar. Right? To turn it into a habit that just comes naturally to us, to notice when we're clenched and when we're breathing really shallow, right? And then we say to ourselves, hey, my alarm didn't go off, but I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second because I need to breathe. Or when we feel like our system gets instantly hijacked, AKA like triggered is a word that a lot of people will use, that is an excellent time to pause and do some breathing on purpose. Again, not saying that you have to do anything different. You can still do whatever you were going to do originally. But when we will breathe on purpose, when we activate that vagus nerve, we bring our frontal cortex online. We bring our intelligent mind on time, not just the fight or flight response. And at that point, we are at choice. We are conscious. We are awake. We are taking things one step at a time. And at any moment, we can notice that, hey, my system is jacked. Let me stop and have a breathing break. Let me bring my best decision-making capacity back online. And then let me take one more step. Let me decide what it is that I want to do next. Dear friends, this has been my pleasure and my honor to serve you in this way. I love this space. I love the people that I've gotten to meet through putting my videos out into the world. It is incredible to me how many of you are around the channel and are already doing this beautiful work to literally turn your lives into heaven on earth. I am here to support you in that journey. I would love for you to join us in the Worthiness Habit, the 4-week mini program that starts April 26th. I also offer one-on-one sessions. I also host a Sacred Circle community every Saturday morning that is there as a very open, very interactive, show up and expect that you're going to get to take up some space, okay? It's very interactive. We all get to talk about what's going on in our world right now. And then we play scientist and we listen for the patterns because it is incredible how the universe will bring together a group of people, often all women, but it doesn't have to be, from around the entire freaking world, and then give us this common thread of we're all right there dealing with the same thing. And what does that give us? It gives It gives us a moment of common humanity. It gives us a moment of knowing that we are not alone. And the rate for that, so you can either join the membership for Sacred Circle, and that's $45 a month, or you can get a single day pass, and that's $15 a Saturday. So like $15 would get you into the next Saturday that's happening. And for program participants, there is a discounted day pass. So it's cheaper than $15 to join us in Sacred Circle if you're also participating in the worthiness habit. So all of that to say, I would love to hold space for you on this journey if that would feel good for you. The links for everything I mentioned are down in the description box. Let me know in the comments if there were any of the attributes to develop that I didn't cover that you would really like me to cover, or if you have a completely different interpretation of something that I covered. Let me know, right? Like, we're all completely unique. We are all seeing through our own eyes, all having a completely unique experience, and I would love to hear what's going on in yours. Until next time, and through the rest of Taurus season, I hope you will take such good care of your physical body. You absolutely deserve that, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.